Hello, everybody, and welcome to Uproot Reddit. Going horseback riding can be a fun, enjoyable experience. But if you've ever been horseback riding, you know that you have to be in good physical condition. First off, getting on the horse requires you to swing your leg over, which is good if you've done some stretches. If not, then it may do you some good to do some morning calisthenics beforehand. Then there comes holding the rein. Now mind you, horses are big, sometimes muscular creatures that have a pull. So make sure your wrists are in good condition to pull the reins to steer the horse in your desired direction. Oh, I also forgot to mention, have a good horse to work with. Some horses are not up to having a human sit on their back. I mean, that's if you want to ride a horse. Some actually don't want to ride a horse. Some just want to watch. Just like Reddit user Fred's Red. Unfortunate for them though, their mother wanted them to ride a horse for some odd reason. Maybe for social status? I don't know. But what happens when a mother goes too far in making their child ride a horse? In today's post, my mother broke my wrist because I wouldn't ride a horse. Extreme much? Let's see what happened. My mother is not a good person, and when thinking of ways to describe her, a few names come to mind. Annie Wilkes from Misery and Margaret White from Carrie, just to name a few. Stephen King depicted my mother quite nicely in those books. Since a very early age, my mother was mentally and physically abusive towards me and my older brother, who's autistic. This is a story of one of those occasions, of which there are many. I think I was about 8 at the time. My younger sister was Mom's golden child. She lived up to all of Mother Dearest's high expectations and liked doing everything that our mom did, like riding horses. I was never interested in doing any of it, probably because of her poor treatment towards me for most of my childhood. My mom and dad had separated when I was very young, but they were civil around each other for the benefit of me and my siblings. At this point, my dad and family members on my dad's side didn't know the things my mom did to me and my brother. I can remember this day so vividly. We were visiting my aunt and her husband, my dad's sister, who lived on a farm. They were all interested in riding horses, but knew that I wasn't, which was never an issue to them. My mother, on the other hand, wasn't so understanding. My sister, 5 at the time, was riding around on a Shetland pony with my uncle walking beside her, and I was sitting on the veranda watching her. My brother had walked off down the driveway a few hours before this, so was nowhere in sight. He's high-functioning autistic and was fine to be on his own. He was 11, and this was in a small and safe rural town. While sitting and watching, my mother walked up to me. My dad was with my aunt on the other side of the farm. "Why won't you come and ride with your sister?" "Because I don't want to." "Don't be a spoiled brat. Get up off your lazy butt now." "Mom, you know I don't like riding horses and I'm not good at it. Please don't make me." Now she's getting visibly angry. "Get up now, you lazy little brat." She grabbed me by my wrist and pulled me hard and fast forward off of the chair. I felt a sharp pain in my wrist as she pulled, and I screamed out in pain. "Mom, you're hurting me, stop! My wrist!" "Stop being a baby and get up." My wrist hurt so bad and began to throb in pain, but whenever I said something about it, Mom just accused me of faking it to get out of doing things. She walked me over to where my dad and aunt were, with my mom dragging me by my now broken wrist. And when we got there, my dad noticed I was crying. "What's wrong? Are you okay?" Now my mom is squeezing my wrist to keep me from saying anything. "She's fine. She wants to ride a horse." "No, I don't." "Yes, you do. You want to ride the big horse, don't you?" I think this mom is hard of hearing because clearly Fred's Red did say no. And the dad should have noticed that this was happening. But here's what actually happened. All of my objections were ignored by my mom, and she made my dad help me onto a horse, bareback. Ooh, without a saddle, that's not good. The big horse was a Clydesdale. How fitting. The person that said they didn't want to get on a horse gets on the biggest horse possible, and by force even. How is that even fair? Anyone who knows about horses will know that a Clydesdale is far too big for an average inexperienced horse rider, let alone an 8-year-old girl. And this horse was easily spooked, so having a new person on his back that didn't know what they were doing was enough to spook him. He jerked forward quickly and bucked me off. I landed in the grass with my hands taking most of the impact, which made the pain in my wrist even worse. The impact wasn't hard enough to break my wrist, but it was already broken before I'd gotten onto the horse. My mom came rushing over to me to see if I was okay. Earth to mom, Fred's Red was never okay to begin with. I was crying in pain and grasping onto my wrist, doing her best faked concerned mother act. Oh, you poor thing. Are you okay? Let me help you up. My wrist, it hurts. Oh no, you must have broken it when you fell. Really? Dad took me to the hospital and my wrist was broken. When I told Dad that Mom broke my wrist, he didn't believe me. Not because he was a neglectful parent, but because he saw me fall into my hands, so he put 2 and 2 together. Most of my cries for help as a child fell on deaf ears. I spent the next 8 weeks with my wrist in a cast, which made school hard as I couldn't hold a pen. It was my right wrist and I'm right-handed. I wanted to say this was the worst thing my mother has done to me, but I'm sad to say it isn't. I'm no longer in contact with her and my life is better without her in it. That moment when you really need to get rid of toxic people in your life and that toxic person is your own mother, that says a lot. Anyways, here's what Fred's Red actually quoted for their edit. There seems to be a misunderstanding about my father enabling my mother, so I want to clarify. He didn't know what she was like back then. My mother was very good at covering her tracks and making what she did look like accidents. It wasn't until many years after this that he began to see who she really is. In case you're wondering, my sister and I are really close now, and I hold no resentment towards her for being the favorite child. She hates her as much as I do now, and isn't in contact with her either. You know, this kind of behavior reminds me of the movie Mommy Dearest. I thought that movie was supposed to teach us how not to be the Joan Crawford type of mom. Is this why some people prefer to deal with animals rather than people? Even animals wouldn't go so far as to force a human to ride them, or pet them, or feed them. Well, I don't know about the feeding part when it comes to dogs and cats, especially dogs. But then again, our pets are like family to us, so why wouldn't we feed them? We give them treats for being good or because we absolutely love them when they make that cute puppy dog face. No matter what type of dog you have, just having them around brings smiles to many faces. Many except for one entitled mom. Reddit user Raging Serpent was just walking their dog when this happened. In today's post, racist entitled mom tries to steal my dog but fails miserably. What is it with these entitled mothers and stealing other people's dogs? Anyways, let's see how she failed miserably. Quote, I'm from India and I moved to America to finish my studies. I'm 20 years old now. I adopted a cute German Shepherd puppy 2 years ago. I named him Negan. I'm a huge Walking Dead fan. And I somehow trained him to growl whenever the classic Negan whistle played. You'll know what I'm talking about if you've seen The Office US. Jim does this to Dwight. It took me really a long time to do this, but it finally worked. And it was really helpful. There I am just casually walking Negan, and a lady and her son came up to me and asks if she and her son can pet Negan. I shrug and say, whatever. They started petting him. Her hand slowly went towards Negan's collar, and I didn't care much because I knew Negan would never walk away from me. I noticed that she had removed the leash from the collar, and Negan was just standing there. She started to do the thing you do when you call your cat. That pss, 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 pss. Yeah, that one. Negan just stood there. Negan is a dog, not a cat. Get it right, entitled mom. The kid said, "Mom, you said when the dog runs away we would take it." I was dying inside. I thought at the right moment to use the new training technique. By the way, the lady was trying to shut her kid up. She looked up at me and smiled. I just looked at her with a ticked off face. She tries to call Negan again. He doesn't go. He doesn't like to go near strangers unless they have food. I just made up a complete fake story. It went something like this. "Lady, you're an idiot for trying to steal my dog." "How dare—" "Shut up. Listen, if you wanted, you could have just had the dog." "What?" "Yep. I need to get rid of this dog. He's a killing machine. He will rip anyone or anything apart who he doesn't like. For instance," I started to whistle. Negan began to growl. The lady started to freak out. She backed away a little. "I suggest you run. He will mess you up so bad they won't be able to recognize your body." The kid, oh my gosh, he was so scared. He said, "Mommy, I don't want this doggy. He's bad." I was dying inside. That's when the racist rant began. By now, Negan stopped growling. Entitled Mom slowly starting to back up. "You stupid Mexicans don't deserve to have dogs as pets. You guys kill dogs. Screw you before I let him rip you into shreds. That dog should be put down. He doesn't deserve to live. He's dangerous," says the person who tried to steal the dog in the first place. I whistle again. She starts hauling her butt out of there, and I burst out laughing. She even tripped. And at the end, guess who got extra treats? And here are some further comments from Raging Serpent. Quote, "Oh my gosh, thanks a lot for all the amazing awards and the comments. I truly appreciate it. Some of you wanted to know how I trained Negan to do that. Basically, I showed him something he hates every time I whistled. For instance, pickles. He hates them. And now every time I whistle, he thinks I'm gonna try to feed him a pickle. Honestly, glad that kid gave away the entitled mom's evil scheme. Otherwise, that dog would be in her hands, and that wouldn't be a good thing for anybody. Raging Serpent, that is one cool trick. Your dog may not have understood the situation that was going on in the moment, but that whistle though, that's where Negan knew, okay, my owner is not happy, therefore I'm not happy, even if pickles are involved. No matter how you look at it, animals are smart, so they know how to defend themselves or their family from harm and danger, even if the danger was that from an entitled mother. And with that, that's all the time we have for today. We'll be back for more Furry Friends posts right here on Uproot Reddit, and we'll see you all next time.